Hello YouTube, this is Alexander again, and today is kind of discovering day. I have this power supply on the bench, and it doesn't want to work with a classical main because it's able to work with 200 volts but not with 230 volts. So it was an issue maybe with a capacitor or something else, and I dismounted and try to understand what happened on this power supply. Of course, I absolutely didn't know if there was a component faulty like semiconductor or capacitors. So I decided to follow the input into the switching and try to understand what can fail on this power supply. So as you can see, I put a little capacitor here because I was testing this power supply before making this video, and I wanted now to show you how you can understand if this is a capacitor fault or another kind of component, because also there is not only capacitors on a PCB. So you have here the main voltage, which is the 220 or 230 volt now, with a PTC and some capacitors, inductors, bridge rectifier, and capacitors. After the filtering of the main, you have the dedicated integrated circuit, which is able to switch for creating some voltage after this little transformer, which is a switching transformer, high frequencies transformer, and it uses also some diode and capacitors for filtering, but this is very easy. So what you need to know is that this integrated circuit need a little start, a little power supply to work when starting. So how it works? They use a resistor network, which is here. Actually, this is a very little network with a high value resistor, and those resistors are connected to the positive of this main capacitor. The positive of this main capacitor, after the network of this resistor is able to feed properly this little integrated circuit. And this is what I want to show you with this schematic. And as you can see, you have here the bridge rectifier, the network resistor, and the IC. The IC need a little help to switch the first time before the run of the unit. So you have here an auxiliary power supply which helps after the start the IC for working properly with this MOSFET. So when the device won't start when you connect it, you can look firstly at this network resistor, this diode, or this capacitor. And my guess was about this, then maybe the capacitor was not very good because it was able for working on 200 volts and not 230, which is very strange actually. So the voltage on this capacitor was about 14 volts, and when you change voltage, they go to under 8 volts, so the unit won't start after that. So this is a test capacitors, and I will show you the main capacitors, which is this one. This is 4.7 microfarad with 100 volts. I don't know why there is 100 volts, because it's very high voltage for this kind of purpose. I replaced it with a very low voltage. I absolutely don't know why they use so much high voltage on it. So actually, when you test this capacitors on the PCB, it gives you a very bad ESR, about 40 ohms. But actually, when you use a real ESR meter, okay, This is the faulty capacitors, okay? Look the ESR of this capacitor. How do you want this capacitor working on the PCB with the higher ESR like that? It's absolutely impossible. So the thing I don't understand is that this capacitor was working with 200 volt only, but not with 230. So I replace it with a very classical capacitor of something like 22 microfarad, 50 volts. 22, 50 volts. Okay. And if I connect the device on the main, okay, need to be very careful because it's electrified, but those gloves are very protective against, oops, sorry, I was afraid. So okay, now you have a LED working on this PCB, and of course what you need to test is to charge the power supply actually. So this is a 24 volt power supply. Okay. Okay. This is a 50 watts bulb, 24 volts, 50 watts, something like that. Okay. So now the device is working. We are going just to remove this capacitor from this side and put it correctly on this side, which is noted, marked with a negative and plus, to not make a mistake. And for today, this little power supply is working now. Okay, you can see here the capacitance and the ESR, which are very good here for the capacitance of this size. Okay, and this one is the new replacement for the other, which is absolutely dead. I absolutely don't understand how a capacitor like that, which is coming from Siemens, can fail so easily, because this power supply apparently is not so old, and so to use some capacitors to destroy something, make it very not reliable. It's a bummer actually. Okay, let's solder this one. I just need to refer this because it's impossible to solder. The ground mass is too thick. Okay, it's fixed. And now test with 200 volt only. Okay, the unit didn't want to start before the repair, so it's okay. It's switch off now. Okay, it runs, and just with higher voltage, 250. Okay, it also works. Okay, because before it doesn't want to work with high voltage, only with 200 volts. Okay, I hope you liked this video. It was Alexander again, and see you soon.